Hey, good morning. It's Mark here with another morning rant. Hey, so what I want to do is what I wanted to do was talk about President Biden's speech because that's the speech that I believe that this country needed. I believe that this is what, if you want to go partisan, I believe that this is what Democrats needed from him to come out and just call it how it is. January 6th was a terrorist attack. January 6th was an attempted coup. January 6th was an insurrection. January 6th was the opposition party that was mad that they lost, trying to storm the Capitol to allegedly attempt to hang the vice president. They were looking for Nancy Pelosi. They were looking for AOC to do what? To do what? And the president came out in a 24-minute speech and he called it how it is. How can this, the one thing that stood out to me in that speech, how can this be that the presidency was stolen? How can the presidency have been stolen, but all the down ballots were okay? Square that circle. If the election in which Donald Trump and Joe Biden were contested, and the votes were manipulated so that Joe Biden would win, why then should they also decertify every election on the down ballot? Because when you go and vote, and the president said it, he said up at the top you got Donald Trump, Mike Pence, you got Joe Biden, Kamala Harris. Excuse me. You got the president and the vice president. Then you got the candidate and his partner, and then you got the governors, you got the Congress, the representatives, you got the senators, and then you got whatever ballot initiatives that their state wants you to vote on also. So you got the district people that you can vote on. You got this huge ballot. So you're telling me that Donald Trump and Mike Pence and Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, that part is a fraud, but everything else below that is okay? While you are attempting to square that circle, watch what Tucker Carlson now Raphael Cruz was he was in the Senate doing some questioning. I don't know what for, and he called January 6th what it was. And he got called out for it. Let's go ahead and play the tape.
For you last time. We were surprised by it. We prefaced it by saying every conservative appreciates Ted Cruz because he's one of the smartest and most articulate people in the Congress, and he's conservative. But he referred publicly to what happened on January 6th as, quote, a violent terror attack. Here it is.
We are approaching a solemn anniversary this week. And it is an anniversary of a violent terrorist attack on the Capitol, where we saw the men and women of law enforcement demonstrate incredible courage, incredible bravery, risk their lives to defend the men and women who serve in this Capitol.
Now, I don't like Raphael Cruz. I don't like him at all. I think he's a phony. I think he's a fraud. I think that he's an ass kisser. I think he's an opportunist. I think he's weak. I think a man that lets another man talk about his wife the way Donald Trump talked about his, and still supports and defend that man, is weak and it should not be called a man. And even years after, he still defends Donald Trump. This is a man that blamed his wife and kids on going to Cancun when Texas was freezing. He threw his wife and kids under the bus. But look at what he's saying. He's saying January 6th was a terrorist attack.
Senator Cruz was game enough to come on tonight. We appreciate that. He joins us now. Senator, thanks so much for coming on. So I guess there are a lot of dumb people in the Congress. You're not one of them. I think you're smarter than I am. And you never use words carelessly. And yet you called this a terror attack when by no definition was it a terror attack. That's a lie.
But that's a
lie.
That's a lie.
You told that lie on purpose, and I'm wondering why you did.
He called this man a liar. Listen, this is how Ted Cruz gets down. People can talk about him to his face. People can disrespect this man to his face, and he won't call it out. He won't call it out. He is going to tap dance over his words because the Republican Party and the conservative members of that party don't like that they're calling January 6th a terrorist attack. But that's what it was. Guaranteed, if black people were at that Capitol in numbers, smashing windows, taking a number 2 on the floor, how nasty do you have to be to decide in front of everybody that you're going to squat and take a number 2 in a hallway and do what they did on January 6th? The black and brown people of that event and black and brown people around this country will be vilified. They will call it a terrorist attack. They will call it an insurrection. They will praise the fact that these people got shot up. But no, because they were white, because they were Republican, is not a terrorist attack. And he brought Ted Cruz on because Ted Cruz knows where his bread is buttered.
Well, Tucker, thank you for having me on. When you aired your episode last night, I sent you a text shortly thereafter and said, listen, I'd like to go on because the way I phrased things yesterday, it was sloppy and it was frankly dumb. And
I don't buy that. Whoa. I don't buy that. Look, I've known you a long time, since before you went to the Senate. You were a Supreme Court contender. You take words as seriously as any man who's ever served in the Senate. And every word, you repeated that phrase. I do not believe that you used that accidentally. I just don't.
See, he's getting called out, and he's groveling. Ted Cruz is groveling right now. He's groveling. Tucker Carlson got this man by the short and curlies, and he's groveling right now. He's capitulating. He's not defending his words.
So, Tucker, as a result of my sloppy phrasing, it's caused a lot of people to misunderstand what I meant. Let me tell you.
How can you misunderstand? How can you misunderstand January 6th was a terrorist attack? That's what you said. So now you're going to go and try to explain what you meant? You say what you mean and you mean what you say. That's what a senator does, right? That's what a potential Supreme Court nominee does, right? That's what he wants to be. That's what a potential president of the United States does, right? That's what Rafael Cruz wants to be. He wants to be president. So you're telling me that you're going to go out there and say one thing and then say, no, what I really meant was, well, if you really meant it, you should have said it.
What I meant to say. What I was referring to are the limited number of people who engaged in violent attacks against police officers.
So he's not talking about everybody that went into the Capitol. He's only talking about those people that fought the police. Those people that fought the police allowed the other people to go inside the Capitol. But he's calling specifically those who fought police officers because that's a twofer right there. He has to say that I'm defending my words by calling those who stormed the Capitol terrorists, but only those people who fought police officers because, hey, I back the blue. You got to cover that up.
You and I both agree that if you assault a police officer, you should go to jail. That's who I was talking about. And the reason the phrasing was sloppy is I have talked dozens, if not hundreds of times. I've drawn a distinction. I wasn't saying that the thousands of peaceful protesters supporting Donald Trump are somehow terrorists. I wasn't saying.
He's apologizing. He's damn near in tears. I'm not talking about me. I'm not talking about the people that came to the rally and went home. I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about the people that went to the Capitol, stood on the Capitol steps, entered the building. He's not even talking about those people. He's just talking about the people that committed violence, not the people that went in and walked around and took photos. This is crazy.
Saying the millions of patriots across the country supporting President Trump are terrorists, and that's what a lot of people have misunderstood that comment.
Wait a second, but wait, but hold on. What you just said doesn't make sense. So if somebody assaults a cop, he should be charged and go to jail. I couldn't agree more. We've said that for years. But that person's still not a terrorist. How many people have been charged with terrorism?
So now he's trying to get Raphael Cruz. He's trying to get Raphael Cruz to say that even if you assault a police officer, you're not a terrorist. Now, he's right. And here's how he's right. He's right in a sense that if I get a group of people and we go and we beat up a cop, we're not terrorists. We just assaulted a cop. And we should be arrested, tried, convicted, whatever. But if I assault a police officer that's defending the goddamn Capitol, that's an act of terrorism, because I'm beating up this police officer who's protecting the members of the Capitol, the members of the United States Congress. That police officer is protecting the Capitol. And I beat that guy up in order to get inside the Capitol. I'm committing an act of terrorism. That's what I'm doing. Tucker Carlson is saying that no, that's not an act of terrorism if he beats up a police officer when he's trying to defend the Capitol.
On January 6th. Like, why'd you use that word? You're playing into the other side's characterization that, as Joe Kent just
and look at his face.
Allows that.
Look at his face. He looks like he's capitulating. He looks sorry. He looks like he's contrite. Please forgive me, Republicans. Please forgive me, Fox Entertainment. He looks sorry. The man can't stand up for his own words. And he's letting
them to define an entire population as foreign combatants. And you know that. So why'd you do it?
So Tucker, let me answer you directly. The reason I use that word, for a decade, I have referred to people who violently assault police officers as terrorists. I've done so over and over and over again. If you look at all the assaults we've seen across the country, I've called that terrorism over and over again. That being said, Tucker, I agree with you. It was a mistake to say that yesterday, and the reason is what you just said, which is we've now had a year of Democrats in the media twisting words and trying to say that all of us are terrorists, trying to say you're a terrorist, I'm a terrorist. And so, look, I don't like people who assault cops, and I stand up and defend cops. And the reason I use that word is that's the word I've always used for people that violently attack cops. But in this context, I get why people were angry, because we've had a year of the corrupt corporate media and Democrats claiming anyone who objected to the election fraud. And by the way, remember what was happening during those protests?
Can I just ask, hold on, you work in the, I guess I just don't believe you. And I mean that with respect, because I have such respect for your acuity and your precision. And I've seen it on display. I've covered you as a reporter. I know how you speak. And you have sat there for a year and watched people use language to distort the events of that day. Intentionally. Insurrection. Coup.
Of course it
terrorism.
Was an insurrection. Saying it's an insurrection is a political term. It's a lie. I've repeatedly denounced it.
He is tap dancing. Raphael Cruz is tap dancing over his own words. And he's letting somebody as weak as Tucker Carlson beat him senseless. This is amazing.
And when it comes to
look at oh my God, look at the caption. Cruising for a bruising. What does that mean? What on earth was Ted Cruz thinking? Look at the caption down here. Raphael Cruz is weak. He's weak.
On what I normally say, that What you aired was a little 15-second snippet. What I normally say is violence is wrong, peaceful protest is right. If you engage in violence, you should be prosecuted. If you're speaking, you have a right to speak. I say that all the time.
Well,
I
didn't
and I
say agree.
In that snippet.
So who's Ray Epps, by the way, since you are a senator? Like, he and this other guy are clearly encouraging the crowd to commit crimes. Neither one has been arrested or charged. What is that, do you think?
So I think that is a very good question. I don't know who Ray Epps is. I've seen that video multiple times.
Who's Ray
It's
Epps?
disturbing. He's clearly urging the crowd to violate the law. When you see the crowd start chanting, Fed, 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 for him to appear on the FBI's most wanted list and come off, it certainly suggests he was working for the FBI. That's not conclusive, but that's the obvious implication.
It's not conclusive. He don't know if he's telling the truth. So he could be lying right now. He's saying that because this guy was on the FBI most wanted list and then he was off, suggested this man is an FBI agent or CIA, and that's not conclusive. Again, by Tucker Carlson's own mouth, Rafael Cruz knows the word he's speaking. He's a lawyer. He was a solicitor for Texas. The man knows words. So he goes out and says all this bull and then says, I know this is not conclusive, but that's the implication. It's implied that this guy works for the FBI. It's not the truth. I don't know if it's the truth, but it's...
Attorney General and the Department of Justice won't answer the question. Tucker, I can tell you I joined with a number of other senators trying to get the Biden DOJ to answer the question why so many January 6 prisoners are in solitary confinement, why they're being treated so much worse than the Antifa rioters and the people who committed firebombing and a year of riots across the country.
And let me explain that. Let me explain that. Why? If you Antifa, Black Lives Matter, or whatever, right? Why are what he's saying is why are the white folk getting treated more harshly than the black folk? Let me explain it to you. And it's not a good explanation. It's not a what's the word I'm looking for? It's not to say that what the violence of 2020 happened was right, but here's the difference. The people that were at the Black Lives Matter protests and the people that were at the Antifa protests that stormed stores and stole. I remember watching something on TV where they went to a Nike store and just stole everything. Those people targeted, private establishments, right? Private businesses, right? They should be tried. They should be arrested. They should be convicted. They should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. They should. They should get everything that's coming to them legally, right? The difference between those protests and the protests at the Capitol is that the people at the Capitol were trying to stop an election. They were trying to stop a peaceful transfer of power. The people that the Black Lives Matter people and the Antifa people that were destroying buildings, private buildings, those people were committing acts of terrorism on private businesses, and they should be arrested. They should be tried. They should be convicted. The people at the Capitol were trying to stop an election. They wanted to hang Mike Pence. They wanted to kill Nancy Pelosi. Members of the government. That's the difference.
And this Biden DOJ,
and they should be isolated. They should get time. They should be hanged, drawn, and quartered for treason. Everybody that was at the Capitol should be killed for treason.
won't go after them. But let me also make a quick point, Tucker. Remember, while thousands of people were standing up to defend this country on January 6th, at that exact moment, I was standing on the Senate floor objecting to the election results, demanding that we impanel an election commission to consider evidence of voter fraud. And I brought together 11 senators to join me in supporting getting to the bottom of that. So, of course, it would be ridiculous for me to be saying that the people standing up and protesting to follow the law were somehow terrorists. I was talking about people who commit violence against cops. And you and I both agree, if you commit violence against cops, you should go to jail.
Yeah, but you're not a terrorist. You know, you're not. You're a guy who,
You know
guy
what?
who assaulted a cop. Okay, so there's a legal difference, as
Wow.
you well know better than I do, since you were actually in the running for the Supreme Court. And there's a moral difference between a guy,
but Tucker, the reason I use that word is for a decade I've used that word for people that violently assault.
Okay. That's amazing to me. I'm at 20 minutes. I don't want to stay too long. That's amazing to me. That's amazing to me. Rafael Cruz is at it again. He's at it again. He tap dances over his own words, and he lets Tucker Carlson belittle him. It's amazing. It's amazing. Well, look, let me get up out of here, people. I'm at 20 minutes. If you stayed this long, I appreciate it. Today is Friday. Hey, have a great Friday. I hope you guys had a great week. Have a great Friday. Enjoy the weekend. And I will see you guys on the next one. I may go in and break down Biden's speech. I may do that. I may not. I don't know. But, hey, just stick with this station, man. Stick with this channel because it's crazy. Look, you guys take care and have a great day, all right? I'm out. Y'all take care.